This is a volcano emergency. Right now, lava flows are advancing down Mount Mayon's slopes, while 13 emergency shelters overflow with 3,476 evacuees who have nowhere else to go. Picture the world's most perfect volcano suddenly glowing red against the night sky. Families clutching emergency bags, children crying in overcrowded gymnasiums. And outside, 100 pyroclastic flows in a single 24-hour period. Supersonic avalanches of gas and rock racing down the mountainside at over 100 kilometers per hour. Temperatures hot enough to melt steel. But here is what has scientists in complete panic. The volcano is not just erupting. The entire mountain has been inflating from beneath since June 2024. Magma pressure is building, and ground deformation measurements confirm it. And the massive lava dome at the summit is collapsing piece by piece, getting more unstable with each passing hour. This is the exact same pattern that appeared before Mayon's 1814 eruption, the one that buried an entire town and killed 1,200 people. So the question, terrifying everyone in the Philippines right now, is this slow collapse the warning sign before Mayon unleashes a catastrophic mega-eruption that could happen at any moment? Mount Mayon rises 2,462 meters above the northeastern Philippines. Its silhouette forms that iconic shape every child draws when imagining what a volcano should look like. Standing roughly 8,000 feet tall in Albay province, this geological masterpiece appears almost too perfect to be real. The symmetrical cone attracts hundreds of thousands of tourists each year, drawn to photograph one of nature's most flawless geometric formations. But do not be fooled by the beauty. This stunning symmetry is not a gift from nature. It is a warning written in stone and lava. Mount Mayon holds the terrifying distinction of being the most active volcano in the Philippines. 54 recorded eruptions have been documented since 1616. That is more than 400 years of documented violence, averaging one major eruption roughly every 7 years. The pattern is relentless and consistent. Here is what makes Mayon so deadly. The volcano's near-perfect cone actually creates the conditions for its most catastrophic behavior. Those steep symmetrical slopes that make Mayon so photogenic accelerate pyroclastic flows to devastating velocities. When thick, pasty lava emerges from the summit, it does not flow smoothly downward like water. Instead, it accumulates at the top, building unstable domes that inevitably collapse. When collapse happens on slopes this steep, debris accelerates rapidly, transforming into superheated avalanches that race downward at speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour. Locals call these flows buhu, avalanches of death. This is now the second time in less than 2 years that Mayon has forced authorities into crisis response mode. On January 6, 2026, at exactly 1:20 in the afternoon local time, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology raised the volcano's alert status to Alert Level 3. That classification carries a specific, chilling meaning that every Filipino recognizes immediately. Alert Level 3 indicates a high probability of hazardous eruption. The perfect cone is showing its teeth again. Visual confirmation came the following evening. On January 7th, between 6:36 and 7 in the evening, cameras captured images of crater glow. The incandescent lava dome was clearly visible at Mayon's summit. Fresh lava deposits were still radiating heat in the darkness. You could see the volcano's power illuminated against the night sky, glowing red-orange like a warning beacon visible for dozens of kilometers. The numbers coming from Mayon right now are genuinely alarming. During November and December 2025 combined, monitoring instruments recorded 599 rockfall events total. Since January 1st, 2026, those same stations have documented 346 rockfall events in less than 1 week. Do you see the pattern emerging? In less than 1 week of January, Mayon produced more than half the activity observed during the previous 2 months combined. This represents a brutal escalation. Then came the 24-hour period that shocked even veteran volcanologists who have monitored Mayon for decades. Between midnight on January 8th and midnight on January 9th, instruments recorded 72 rockfall events, 100 pyroclastic density currents, and 2 volcanic earthquakes. That level of pyroclastic activity in a single day represents an intensity rarely documented at any volcano on Earth. Dr. Teresito Bacolcol, director of the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, explained that individual rockfall events lasted between 1 and 5 minutes each. These events transported lava debris up to 1 kilometer down the volcano's slopes, concentrated specifically on the upper southern sections. The rockfalls are incandescent. The rocks tumbling down Mayon's flanks glow red-orange through the darkness, visible from kilometers away. This is not cold material falling under normal gravitational influence. This is freshly expelled volcanic matter still radiating heat from the mountain's interior, maintaining temperatures that can melt steel. But January 6th at 12:26 p.m. marked the breaking point. That was when pyroclastic density currents began, after the collapse of newly expelled lava, descending through the channel known as Banga Gully on the volcano's southeast side. The event lasted approximately 3 minutes, and those 3 minutes carried volcanic debris as far as 2 kilometers from the summit crater. This is when everything changed from monitoring concern to active crisis. Then came the first direct civilian impact. On the afternoon of January 8th at 5:56 p.m., authorities confirmed traces of ash falling in Barangay Busay and Barangay Daraga. Light ash deposits were reported in Barangay San Francisco and Barangay Travesia in Guinobatan. Ashfall represents the moment volcanic activity moves from monitored data points to tangible reality, coating homes, farms, and water sources. Dr. Maria Antonia Bornas, chief of the Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division, assessed the situation during a press conference on Tuesday. She said the most likely scenario now mirrors what happened in 2023, when Mayon remained at alert level 3 for 6 full months. The volcano maintained elevated activity continuously throughout that period, forcing extended evacuations and sustained emergency response. But here is what has scientists in complete panic. There is a critical difference this time that separates 2026 from 2023. Ground deformation. Continuous GPS data, electronic tilt meters, and electronic distance measurements all confirm that the volcano's edifice, its entire physical structure, has been inflating since June 2024. The deformation concentrates especially in the eastern and southeastern sectors. This means magma pressure is actively pushing upward from deep chambers below. The mountain is not just erupting surface material. It is being inflated from within by forces building beneath the surface. And unlike 2023, the internal pressure shows no signs of decreasing. Think with me for a second. At Mayon's summit right now, a lava dome is growing. When extremely thick, almost pasty lava emerges from a volcano, it behaves nothing like flowing rivers of molten rock. This viscous material accumulates at the top, piling higher and higher, forming what scientists describe as a cap or plug. But this cap is catastrophically unstable. As it grows, gravity pulls at every ton of material stacked precariously at the summit. When sections inevitably give way, the resulting collapse generates pyroclastic density currents instantly. Despite having one of the most sophisticated volcanic monitoring systems operating anywhere on Earth, predicting the exact moment of catastrophic dome collapse remains extraordinarily difficult. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology maintains around-the-clock surveillance through live video transmission, seismic instruments tracking every tremor, GPS networks measuring ground movement with millimeter-level precision, electronic tilt meters detecting the slightest changes in slope angles, thermal cameras capturing heat signatures invisible to human eyes, and gas measurement stations continuously sampling atmospheric composition. Yet the volcano keeps its own timeline. Scientists can track patterns and recognize dangerous trends, but they cannot pinpoint the precise instant when accumulated stress will exceed the threshold fractured rock can withstand. On January 7th, Governor Noel Rosal announced the human cost of Mayon's escalating activity. A total of 3,476 people, representing 952 families, have been displaced from their homes. The numbers tell a story of communities torn apart by geological forces beyond human control. Mandatory evacuations began at 4 in the afternoon on January 6th, targeting 2,889 people from 729 families living in 3 villages located within the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone surrounding the volcano crater. But the displacement extended beyond mandatory orders. An additional 600 people from 39 families left voluntarily, even though they lived outside the designated danger zone, seeking safety in emergency shelters or staying with friends and relatives. The evacuations concentrated mainly in 6 communities across Albay province. Tabaco City saw 1,181 people flee their homes. Malilipat recorded 1,193 evacuees. Then came Camalig, Legazpi, Guinobatan, and Daraga. Military troops, police forces, and disaster mitigation teams coordinated the massive movement, helping families reach 13 government-administered evacuation shelters established across the region. These 13 emergency shelters are now overflowing. Families are sleeping in government facilities indefinitely. Children are missing school, and all classes are suspended in affected areas. Basic necessities are strained under the numbers as extended occupation capacity gets tested beyond normal limits. Governor Rosal assured that relief supplies can be sustained even if evacuations last months. A well-established coordination network connects local government units, provincial authorities, and national agencies, including the Department of Social Welfare and Development and the Department of Public Works and Highways. Contingency measures include Bureau of Fire Protection deployment, large water container installations, and sanitary facility setup. The 6-kilometer permanent danger zone exists for documented historical reasons. In 1814, a major Mayon eruption buried the entire town of Kagsawa, killing approximately 1,200 people. Current evacuation boundaries mirror the footprint of that past disaster. Entry into the danger zone is now strictly prohibited, with warnings against unsupervised access to extended danger zones as well. You might be wondering why thousands of people choose to live so close to such obvious danger. These are not tourists or temporary residents. These are families who have built entire lives, established farms, and created businesses on Mayon slopes across multiple generations. Economic survival and volcanic risk occupy the same geographic space. The reality is complicated and cruel. The volcanic soil around Mayon produces some of the most fertile agricultural land in the Philippines, with economic yields unmatched anywhere else in the region. Tourism revenue brings millions annually as visitors come specifically to photograph the perfect cone. Regional identity and cultural heritage are intertwined with the volcano's presence. Permanent relocation would destroy livelihoods built across multiple generations. This is home, not just geography. Picture a farmer watching his crops from an evacuation shelter. Years of work are left behind in fields he cannot access. 3 generations of his family have farmed the same volcanic slopes, cultivating produce in soil enriched by centuries of ash deposits. The same mountain that feeds them also threatens to kill them. The paradox is impossible to escape. Children clutch stuffed animals in overcrowded evacuation centers. They wake to the sound of helicopters and constant emergency sirens. 8-year-old children have not slept through the night since their families fled. They are missing school during extended displacement. They are growing up with evacuation drills as normal life. This is the second time in less than 2 years for some families. The trauma accumulates with each crisis. Economic pressure to return before conditions become safe intensifies with each passing week. Extended evacuations generate fatigue among the displaced. Businesses remain shuttered. Farms go unattended during critical growing periods. Families sleep on cots in gymnasiums, while uncertainty about when returning home will be possible weighs on every conversation. But communities have developed cultures of preparation from living under constant threat. Previous evacuation drills ensure residents know protocols. Regular educational programs from the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology teach warning signs. Emergency supplies remain prepositioned. Designated evacuation routes are established and maintained. Shelter systems stay ready for immediate activation. The historical pattern repeats across generations. Mayon erupts. People evacuate. Activity eventually subsides. Communities return. Life rebuilds during quiet periods. Then the cycle begins again. Each generation learns the drill. Each generation faces the same impossible choice between economic survival and physical safety. January 2026 represents another chapter in a centuries-old story written in lava and displacement. The current situation involves partial dome collapses, generating 100 pyroclastic density currents per day. But the worst-case scenario involves complete dome failure in a single catastrophic event. Warning time could be 0. If a massive section of the lava dome gives way suddenly, a pyroclastic density current would form instantly. Temperatures would exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. The mixture of superheated gas, ash, and rock would accelerate down Mayon's steep slopes at speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour, following established channels such as Bonga Gully. Anyone within 6 kilometers would have no time to react. Within the first 5 minutes, pyroclastic flows would reach 2 to 3 kilometers from the summit. Everything in their path would be incinerated instantly. Buildings offer no protection against flows this hot and fast. Vehicles cannot outrun them. The temperature kills before physical impact arrives. Between 5 and 15 minutes, pyroclastic flows would reach lower elevations. The ash column could potentially rise 5 to 10 kilometers into the atmosphere, affecting aviation across the entire region. If rain coincides with the eruption, secondary lahars, volcanic mudflows, would transform river valleys into deadly channels, carrying debris downstream at tremendous velocity. During the first 6 hours, massive ashfall would blanket Albay province across dozens of kilometers. Agricultural devastation would be immediate and total. Water sources would become contaminated. Infrastructure would buckle under accumulated ash weight. Power grids would fail from ash interference. Road networks would become impassable. The 6-kilometer permanent danger zone exists because history teaches brutal lessons. In 1814, a major Mayon eruption buried the entire town of Cagsawa, killing approximately 1,200 people. The church ruins remain visible today, standing as a memorial to that catastrophe. Current evacuation boundaries mirror that disaster footprint. The critical difference between 1814 and 2026 is monitoring capability. 2 centuries ago, no warning system existed. Today, 24-hour surveillance operates continuously, but science can track volcanic behavior without being able to stop it. Long-term threats extend beyond the immediate eruption. Lahars continue for months during the rainy season as accumulated volcanic debris mobilizes with each storm. Communities located downstream from Mayon face sustained risk long after initial volcanic activity subsides. Nature still moves faster than human systems can respond. As of January 2026, exactly 3,476 people remain displaced. Monitoring continues 24 hours a day. The volcano shows no indication of decreasing activity. Alert Level 3 stays in effect, maintaining its classification of high probability of hazardous eruption. Ground deformation measurements confirm sustained magma pressure building beneath the surface. The pressure that has accumulated since June 2024 continues pushing upward from deep chambers below. Pyroclastic density currents continue at rates that alarm scientists who have studied Mayon for decades. 100 flows in 24 hours remain the documented reality. Each rockfall event, each pyroclastic flow, each measurement of ground deformation adds another data point to patterns scientists recognize but cannot control. The lava dome continues growing at the summit, accumulating more unstable material with each passing day. When it collapses, whether gradually over months or catastrophically within minutes, depends entirely on forces operating kilometers beneath the surface. Scientists can track the patterns. They can recognize the dangerous trends, but they cannot predict the exact moment when everything gives way. Emergency coordination networks remain activated. Military personnel stay positioned. Evacuation shelters maintain capacity for extended occupation. The 6-kilometer danger zone remains empty, enforced by authorities who understand what historical precedent teaches about Mayon's reach. All systems remain on standby for escalation. The 2023 precedent looms over every assessment. That year, Mayon remained at Alert Level 3 for 6 full months. If slow extrusion of the lava dome continues at current rates, a similar duration is possible. But unlike 2023, the internal pressure shows no signs of decreasing. Evacuees wait in shelters, uncertain when returning home becomes safe. Their lives are suspended in evacuation centers, while the mountain they call home continues inflating from magma pressure that has built for months. The promise of technology offers some measure of protection that did not exist during historical eruptions. Monitoring technology improves yearly. Multi-parameter surveillance provides data previous generations never possessed. International collaboration strengthens volcanic monitoring capabilities continuously. Yet prediction of the exact collapse moment remains imperfect. The uncomfortable truth creates sustained tension. The central question hangs unresolved over Albay province. Will Mayon's lava dome collapse catastrophically in a single devastating failure? Or will slow extrusion continue for months as it did in 2023? Nobody knows. The volcano operates on its own timeline, indifferent to human schedules and emergency planning. Right now, above the northeastern Philippines, the perfect silhouette of Mount Mayon glows red against the night sky. Beautiful, deadly, inevitable. 13 emergency shelters overflow with 3,476 displaced residents who cannot go home. Lava flows continue advancing down slopes that have buried entire towns before. 100 pyroclastic density currents in 24 hours. A number that shocks scientists who thought they had seen everything this mountain could do. The world's most photographed volcano. The Philippines' most active killer. Fertile soil that feeds thousands. Slopes that could bury them with zero warning. Ground deformation measurements confirm magma pressure building beneath the surface. Alert Level 3 persists with no end date. The dome grows. The mountain inflates. The evacuees wait. The question hangs over Albay province, like the ash clouds drifting west-southwest. Catastrophic mega eruption or months-long siege? Mayon has erupted 54 times in 400 years. It will erupt again. The only question science cannot answer is when. And for 3,476 people living in emergency shelters, that answer means everything.